What if I told you that the way most of us have been taught to save money is, well, completely wrong? We're about to dive into a pretty radical idea that really turns conventional financial wisdom on its head.
The core idea we're exploring is simple, but it's also incredibly bold. It's this: keeping your savings in a bank is, to put it bluntly, a foolish move.
Now, to really wrap our heads around this, we have to understand the difference between using a bank for the right reasons and, you guessed it, the wrong ones.
Okay, let's be really clear about this. Bank accounts are absolutely essential for modern life. You need one to get your salary, to pay your bills, to prove you have funds when you want to travel. That's just the smart, necessary way to use a bank. But here's the twist. Using that very same account to try and grow your money, that's exactly where the trouble starts.
And this point is really driven home with a bit of dark humor. The idea is, if you're keeping your money in a savings account, genuinely hoping for big returns, you basically deserve an award for foolishness. So why such a strong, almost aggressive stance? Well, it's because, from this perspective, any profit you think you're making from a bank, it's just an illusion.
And here's why it's considered an illusion. First off, the interest you earn is tiny, just minuscule. Second, you have to wait a really long time just to see those tiny returns. And then comes the final blow. After all that waiting, the government comes in and takes a slice of your already meager profits in taxes.
Think about it like this. Your profit is like a delicious plate of palau, that savory rice dish. Well, the tax comes along and eats all the best parts, all the meat, and it just leaves you with the plain rice.
All right, so all of this naturally leads to the big question. If a bank is the wrong place to keep your savings, then what's the right place? How are you actually supposed to protect your money's value?
The answer, according to this philosophy, isn't about saving money in the way we think of it. It's actually about converting your money into real, physical things that you can hold and touch.
The strategy itself is broken down into 3 pretty simple steps. Step 1. Stop letting your money just sit in a bank waiting to grow. Step 2. Immediately use that money to buy tangible assets. And Step 3. Just hold on to those assets. The whole idea is that their value is going to grow much, much faster than any interest you would have gotten from a bank.
So what kind of assets are we talking about here? This isn't about stocks or bonds. We're talking about real physical stuff. Gold, of course, is the classic example, but it could also be industrial materials like iron bars, or even agricultural goods like animal fodder or different types of grain. The argument is that after just 1 year, you'll actually have a better return on a pile of grain than you would have with that same cash sitting in the bank.
And there's a powerful cautionary tale that goes along with this. We're told about people who locked their money away in a bank for 5 years, completely sold on the promise that it would double. Well, at the end of it all, they weren't celebrating. They were in tears.
Now, you have to understand, this idea about money is actually part of a much bigger philosophy, a deep skepticism of modern artificial systems. And it's explained perfectly through a really surprising analogy, the difference between fresh milk and the kind you buy in a carton.
So on the one hand, you've got fresh milk straight from the source. It's natural, yeah, it goes bad pretty quickly, and it has bacteria in it. A milkman might even add a little water to it. Then, on the other hand, you have packaged milk. It's heavily processed, it lasts for what seems like forever, and it's so sterile that not even germs will go near it.
And this leads to a really fascinating question. Why would you pay double the price for something that even germs, which are naturally drawn to things with nutrients, won't even touch?
The argument here is that the long shelf life isn't a benefit, it's a huge warning sign. That milk doesn't spoil, not because it's pure, but because it's absolutely loaded with chemicals.
And this brings us right to the big idea that connects everything. It's a philosophy that says we should always be choosing the natural over the artificial, whether we're talking about our money or our health.
Now let's be very clear about this. The point isn't that packaged goods are forbidden or should be banned. It's all about making a wiser choice. The argument is simply that the wisest path is always to go with the natural, organic option whenever you can.
And to prove this wisdom, we're told a story about a man who lived to be an incredible 110 years old.
This man was from the speaker zone neighborhood. And what was his secret to such a long life? It wasn't modern, sterile products. He lived on natural things, including that very same germ-filled fresh milk that we're all taught to avoid.
So in the end, it all comes down to this one crucial question. In our modern world, are we sacrificing the wisdom of a natural life for the simple illusion of artificial convenience? It's definitely something to think about.